And at that moment, it was like nobody understood. I don't think, like within myself, I was saying to God, either I am too weird for this world, or maybe this world is just too weird for me. But either way, I I battled to belong. I was just battling to belong. I just felt so lost and unfulfilled, and I didn't know how to express how I feel. Didn't want to be here. And I would say, God, I'm struggling to belong. I let him know. I told him, like like how I'm talking to you right now. I would say to him, like, God, I'm struggling. I'm struggling. I can't get anything done. Constantly in my head. Constantly in my head. The I mean, I sat there in the living room and I saw the 3 degrees hanging on the wall, and I looked at them. I stare at them with tears rolling down my cheek, and I saw a proud, successful young lady aspiring for greatness, for her freedom. And then what I saw in that young lady on the wall in those 3 frames just didn't reflect where I am. I was like, but God, here I am. Here I am. Here I am in a box, sitting in my living room, and all I have is these 3 degrees hanging on the wall and nothing to show for it. Like I felt like I was nothing, and in the process of another degree, and I just didn't think nobody could understand how I feel and what I was going through. And when you reach that point of just giving it to God, I didn't even believe that God understood, because right for a while now I hadn't taken up my Bible because I just got so tired, you know, got so tired. I didn't think I could get any answers from it. They said, like, keep focus, follow the rules, work hard, go to school, be a good girl. And I kept asking myself, like, where did I go wrong? I'm not I wasn't even proud to tell people I have degrees. Like, what for? Like, it doesn't make no sense. I didn't see any difference between who I was and from the normal man who didn't go to school. Like, it was just all confusing for me, too confusing for me. It just became so embarrassed. I became so embarrassed to talk about it because I had nothing to show. And God chose to be quiet. He's been so quiet. Like, how do you cope when you desperately need answers, but there's complete silence from the one who claims that he loves you with an unconditional love and he wants to see you, the right way, and you've been listening, you want to get the directives, and God just seems so quiet. Complete silence. And then I decided to do what I normally would do. I decided that, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and take out my Bible and see if God will speak to me this time, see if I can hear something from him, because at this point I was very desperate to hear what he has to say, very desperate to know, why have you been so quiet? Why have you left me alone? Then God said to me, Kalia, he said, Kalia, I, the Lord, have called you into righteousness. And I was confused. I'm like, God, I've been taking every step that you've told me to take. I've been doing everything that you told me to do. How do you mean you've called me into righteousness? And he said, I will take hold of your hand. God said to me, he said, I will keep you and will make you to be a covenant for the people. And I was listening. He said, I want you to be a light for the people, to open their eyes, those that are blind, to free captives from prison, and to release from the dungeon those who sit in darkness. And I can tell you at this moment, I felt a relief within me because God started talking to me. He said, Kalia, I, the Lord, have chosen you. He said, Kalia, because I was like going back in and out of the past. And he said, Kalia, the former things have taken place. And new things I declare. New things I declare. And he said, before they spring into being, I am announcing them to you. And I stood there before my Bible and I was listening, and the tears began to flow, because at the moment when I thought that God wasn't listening, he wasn't there, at the moment in my confusion, when it feels like I was alone, he's been quiet for too long and I am desperate for the next, what to do next, and why am I in such a box? He said, my daughter, for a long time I have kept quiet. I have been quiet and held myself back, but no, I will lead you blindly by ways you have not known. And I was like to myself, God, you have been leading me blindly, but now he's saying, I will still continue to lead you in ways that you have not known. You just got to keep trusting me. And then he said, I will turn the darkness into light before you and make the rough places smooth. He said, these are the things I will do. I will not forsake you, daughter. He said, Kalia, I will not forsake you, for you are mine. You are mine. And trust me, that was enough. That was enough. And sometimes it's just funny how when we think that God has left us alone, sometimes he really wants us to seek him and he really wants us to come to him, you know. So like, this is how God is. Like, when you are so desperate, when you think that you are alone, he just comes in with such warmth, such assurance, and he lifts your spirit, and he just tells you, he just reassures you. And I just knew that I wasn't alone. I knew that he was right there. I knew that I was still on the same path, on the safe path, and I more motivated to just keep going. Because, you know, the funny thing is, a lot of times when Christ is quiet, a lot of times when he's quiet, he's just simply asking us to just continue doing what we have been doing. You know, sometimes we can get so overly confused in a place of rest, that if we're not careful, we can walk out of line from what God had originally asked us to do, and out of the place that he wants us to rest in. He just reminds me, you are my daughter. Just keep on the same path. I'm right here. I'm right here. I'm right here, he says.